In 2003, a tragedy struck the coastal town of Blackpool, England, when 14-year-old Charlene Downes went missing. This case would become one of the most talked about and heartbreaking murder investigations in UK history. What started as a missing persons case spiraled into a nightmare, revealing chilling secrets, betrayal, and a community that failed to protect one of its own. But the truth of what happened to Charlene remained elusive, leaving a trail of unanswered questions and unanswered cries for justice. What happened to Charlene? Was she a victim of a brutal crime, or did the investigation miss key clues that could have saved her? Today, we uncover the shocking and heart-wrenching story of Charlene Downes and the battle for justice that lasted for years. Who was Charlene Downes? Charlene Downes was a teenager who lived in the vibrant town of Blackpool, known for its seaside resorts and bustling tourist attractions. She was described as lively, fun-loving, and always in high spirits. Charlene lived with her mother, brother, and her stepfather in a tight-knit working-class family. She had friends, she loved spending time at the beach, and she was just beginning to make her way into adulthood. But on November 1st, 2003, all of that was torn apart. Charlene had been missing for several days, and her family was frantic. She had been last seen leaving a fast food restaurant, the last place she had worked at, just a few hours before disappearing without a trace. No one knew where she had gone, and the clock was ticking. Her family tried to make sense of the situation, but the only thing that remained was a terrifying silence. The initial investigation. When Charlene vanished, the police began their search for any clue, hoping to find her safe. Initially, the investigation appeared to be a typical missing person case, but as days passed, the situation became more and more suspicious. Investigators soon began to uncover strange details and red flags, and the case quickly shifted from a missing person to something far more sinister. Witnesses described seeing Charlene leaving the fast food shop, but what happened after that was unclear. Her family felt the uncertainty grow as rumors began to swirl about what might have occurred. What were these strange whispers about Charlene's possible involvement with people who had dark connections? Could there be more to her disappearance than just a runaway teen? The search for Charlene. As the days stretched into weeks, and weeks turned into months, the search for Charlene took on a darker tone. Police began to re-examine their leads and intensify their investigation. But despite numerous efforts, including searches of nearby beaches, parks, and even a local river, nothing turned up. It seemed like Charlene had vanished into thin air. Her family was desperate for answers. They had to know what happened to their beloved daughter. Her mother, Karen, and her stepfather, Bob, held out hope, but the pressure and anguish were unbearable. As weeks turned into months, the police began to follow a more troubling trail of evidence. Police looked into Charlene's social connections, and it quickly became clear that she had been in contact with individuals who may have known more than they were letting on. A grim discovery. The body in the investigation takes a dark turn. The investigation took a dark and twisted turn when investigators received new information from an informant. In February 2004, months after Charlene had disappeared, a body was discovered in an industrial area of Blackpool. While the body was not immediately identified as Charlene's, the authorities began to fear the worst. However, the real shock came when police pieced together evidence that pointed to a dangerous underbelly of the local community. The investigation had now begun to uncover links to an illicit world of drugs, prostitution, and organized crime that had been operating right under the noses of local authorities. Suspects and the trials. As the investigation deepened, detectives uncovered a list of suspects that would ultimately spark one of the most controversial legal proceedings in UK history. Among the suspects were local men with connections to Charlene's life. It was revealed that she had been involved with a group of men who operated within the dark corners of Blackpool's illegal activities. One key figure in the case was a man named Tariq, who had been known to have connections to the underworld. During the investigation, he was questioned by police, but crucially, he was never charged. Yet his name kept resurfacing throughout the case. In the early stages of the trial, public opinion was deeply divided. Many people in the town of Blackpool believed that there was no way Charlene had met her tragic end at the hands of a stranger. They believed the people involved in her disappearance were close to home. Could this be true? Did those closest to her betray her? The case reached a heartbreaking climax in 2007 when a trial began. But what followed was a journey that would leave many stunned. While evidence was presented, there were significant flaws in the case, and it was hard for the jury to piece together the truth. The aftermath, a community in shock. The murder of Charlene Downes rocked the community of Blackpool to its core. People were devastated by the brutal death of a young girl who had so much potential. Families in the area were left wondering how something so terrible could happen on their doorstep. Charlene's family was left to pick up the pieces of their lives and ask why justice had been delayed for so long. Her mother, Karen, and other family members have continued to speak out for justice, pressing the authorities to reopen the investigation in the years that followed. While no one was ever convicted of Charlene's murder, the case remains an important and painful reminder of how deep-rooted crime can infiltrate even the most seemingly innocent places. The unsolved mystery. Despite years of investigation, the truth about what happened to Charlene Downes on that fateful night in 2003 remains a mystery. Despite numerous leads, tips, and witness testimonies, no one has been held accountable for her murder. The case continues to baffle investigators, leaving Charlene's family and the people of Blackpool searching for answers. As time passes, the pain of not knowing what really happened to her only grows stronger. For those who have followed the case closely, the question arises: did the justice system fail Charlene? Were there crucial pieces of evidence overlooked? Or were there more people involved than the police initially realized? Could the authorities have missed the truth while unraveling a complex web of deceit, corruption, and hidden secrets? These questions remain unanswered, fueling the frustration of those who seek justice for Charlene. The unresolved nature of her murder continues to cast a shadow over Blackpool. Charlene's story is a stark reminder that not every case ends with the satisfaction of justice being served. Sometimes, no matter how much effort is put into an investigation, the truth remains elusive. For her family and friends, the lack of closure is a daily struggle, as they are forced to live with the painful uncertainty of never knowing what truly happened to their loved one. As we reflect on the tragic death of Charlene Downes, we must remember her life and the fight for justice that continues. Her memory lives on, not just in the hearts of her family, but in the ongoing pursuit of the truth. Though her case remains unresolved, the hope for justice persists, and one day, perhaps, the truth will finally emerge. May her family find the peace they deserve, and may those responsible for her untimely death be held accountable. If you found Charlene's story as heartbreaking and tragic as we did, please like, share, and subscribe for more real-life documentaries that highlight the pursuit of justice and the heartbreaking tales of those who have suffered. What do you think happened to Charlene? Do you believe there's still hope for justice? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching.